And if we highlight a lot of things about Islam, and then we misunderstand their meaning. We go and say, Islam says, cut the hand of the thief. And yes, Islam tells us to cut the hand of the thief. But Islam has put preconditions. You have to provide for everybody first. First you provide for them. And then you do equal punishment. It's not you just punish the poor and leave the rich. And the third thing, if somebody stole from a relative, the punishment doesn't hold. It has to be stealing from strangers, subhanAllah. So there is prerequisites and conditions, and if you provide and still you have provided and you've given to everybody and still somebody is attacking somebody else and taking away from them their hard work, yes, they should be punished, subhanAllah. So, but what we realize is we're only highlighting. And they talk about adultery, subhanAllah, and stoning in adultery. If we look in adultery and the punishment for adultery, the punishment for adultery is only four people have seen them in a total intercourse position. They have not just seen them naked together. They did not see a couple going in a hotel together. They don't get punished. The person who reports them get punished. If they say they seen them naked together, they don't get punished. It's the person who says they did it, they get punished. They have to be in a total intercourse position, and then they will be punished. So the scholar said it's not a punishment for adultery. It's a punishment for those who have put themselves in a position in public that four people could see them in that position. This is fasad fil ard, this is corruption. And they're getting the punishment for the corruption for what they did, not for the adultery, because they have put themselves in this position. It is to protect the society of the community, because if you're walking in the street, you and your children, you don't want to be exposed to this. And yet they take it out of context and say this is punishment. So we have to understand Islam, and we have to understand the prerequisites, and then they tell us that Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu seen a couple, and he came and he said, Astaghfirullah, I've seen a couple doing something. So Ali ibn Abi Talib told him, stop right there. He said, why? He said, do you have three others to testify with you? You've seen them like that? He said, no. So he said, Umar, if you don't stop, I will do haddullah on you. I will accuse you of throwing this couple, accusing them wrongly, and you will be punished, subhanAllah. This is how Islam teaches us. This is the true Islam. Who would want to be walking in the street and with his children and see a couple like this? It's protecting the society, it had nothing to do with adultery, and yet people take it out of context, and this is what they bring us as Islam is. Subhanallah. And if we look at Islam, al-qisas, the capital punishment, Islam tells us this capital punishment. وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ. لَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ means it will give you life. So somebody who knows that they will be punished, they might stop killing. That's one aspect. But the other aspect in Islam that Islam dealt with it, that the family of the dead person has the right to forgive them. And I remember Sheikh Sha'arawi saying, I challenge anybody that somebody brings his coffin to the dead person's family and say, either you decide to kill me or forgive me, and they will not forgive. They will forgive. And this is what they call closure. The family knows that they have forgiven, and this person goes free out of the kindness of their heart. But what do we have in our system today? A judge that's not related decide on technicality or something to set the person free. And this person, the family of the dead person, are in agony because this person have gone free without punishment. But if he had went to the family, and as Sheikh Sha'arawi says, most cases, they will forgive. SubhanAllah. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the proper closure, gives the family of the person, dead person, the ability to forgive, rather than a stranger and the family is suffering. SubhanAllah, Islam is a wonderful religion. Islam is so beautiful, but we don't stop to understand it. And that's what we all have to do. We have to analyze and see what Islam is telling us to do. And really understand how beautiful it is, and it is there to make our life easy. And as we said, the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if the people of the book followed their Torah and Injil, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide to them. And it's really telling us, if we follow our Quran, Allah will provide for us too. SubhanAllah, if we only follow our book, and yet we say we follow, and we do the opposite. We do everything the opposite, and we follow. And how many times we hear Muslim couples say, I only want to have 2 kids so I can provide for them. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, نَحْنُ نَرْزُقُكُمْ وَإِيَّاهُمْ, we will provide you and them. Subhanallah. We either use our own logic or follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and realize that Islam is wonderful and it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who provides. And once we learn this, and we learn that Allah is provider and we leave ourselves, but we obey. We obey and we follow the true spirit of Islam, and that's what we have to learn. And the best way to learn it is read the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Read his life rather than read a hadith that has true words. Read his life to realize when was this hadith said, why was it said in this time, and then it makes sense, and it's part of the compassionate of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not just words that we follow blindly. So inshallah, we try to understand Islam, read the Quran, and read the hadith, and read the life of the Prophet, and we understand, and we realize how fortunate we are that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us Islam, and as we started, Allah has perfected our religion and completed His blessing and bounty on us. It is a blessing and bounty. Little do we know, but we have to understand it. Rather than, as we said, what we grew up with when we're young and we're told this is right or wrong. And as I mentioned before, culturally, we use the word halal and haram instead of right and wrong. And we grew up thinking that things are haram when it's wrong. Maybe it's culturally wrong, or it's not right, but it's not haram and it's not halal. The halal and haram, if you want to understand, go to Surah Al-An'am, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ تَعَالُوا أَتْلُ عَلَيْكُمْ مَا حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ. Allah will tell us what is halal and what is haram. That's what Allah has listed. Subhanallah, that's if you want to learn, go to the Quran and find. As for us, culturally, we use the word halal and haram to replace right and wrong, and we have to learn what's the difference and follow. Inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all. Allahumma hadina mawlana fi man hadayt, wa afina fi man afayt, wa qina wasif anna sharra ma qadayt. اللهم بارك لنا فيما أعطيت، اللهم هب لنا ما يقربنا إليك، اللهم لا تدع لنا في جمعنا هذا ذنبا إلا غفرته، ولا مريدا إلا شفيته، ولا هما إلا فرجته، ولا دينا إلا قضيته، ولا حاجة لنا في هذه الدنيا لك فيها رضا ولنا فيها صلاح إلا قضيتها يا رب العالمين. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات. اللهم هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا متقين إماما. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء